How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. I want to explain to you today why getting to 0.07 Bitcoin is actually really hard. It's actually a really good goal for a lot of people to set. And I want to explain why that is. And it's not supposed to be a negative video by any means. I'm trying to show you that if you've already made it to owning 0.07 Bitcoin, you are far ahead of a lot of other people and have already overcome a lot of hurdles. If you have 0.2 Bitcoin, great. If you have 1.7 Bitcoin, great. If you're just starting and you haven't even started buying yet, I still think this is a really good video because it explains some of the hurdles that you have to go through to get to your goal. If you don't mind, hit the subscribe button, turn on that bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this. There's also going to be a link to CoinW underneath the video where you can trade futures. And you can also buy Bitcoin. You can just buy spot Bitcoin. You can withdraw it if you want to a hardware wallet, or you can keep it in the app. But you can do that with CoinW. They also have a trading group that you can join if you use the link underneath the video. It gives you like free knowledge, free pro trading sessions, and free, not advice, but free market setups. So they show you what's happening in the market and give you an idea for what they're doing as some pro traders there. There's also a link down there to Margex as well. In case you want to start investing in cryptocurrency on that platform or trading, you can use that link underneath the video as well. And there's no KYC for either of these, so you can set it up within minutes and start trading. Now, let's talk about why it's actually really impressive if you've been able to get to 0.07 Bitcoin. You're far ahead of a lot of other people. And let me say too, I do own more than this. So this is not supposed to be saying that it's impossible to get to 0.07 Bitcoin. I'm just saying congrats, because you're above 99% of people if you've bought this amount of Bitcoin. Now, why is that? Well, now if you look at the Bitcoin rich list, there are actually about 12, maybe a little bit more than 12 million addresses that own 0.01 Bitcoin or more. Now, a lot of people hold multiple addresses. Actually, I hold, I don't know how many at this point, 5, 10, 50, I don't know. But I would assume out of these 12 million addresses that hold 0.01 Bitcoin, maybe it's 2 million people that actually have 0.01 Bitcoin or more. Now, there are some people that have Bitcoin miners or MicroStrategy or these new ETFs that own like the underlying Bitcoin, kind of they own part of the company that owns the Bitcoin. But I'd say there's not a lot of people that actually own even 100th of a Bitcoin. And just like it's easier to get to $200,000 net worth after you've hit $100,000 net worth, it's easier to get to 0.14 Bitcoin after you've gone to 0.07 Bitcoin. Now, what exactly is the problem? Why is it hard for people to get to 0.07 Bitcoin? Well, most people do realize the problem, at least in the countries that I've been to, the people that watch this channel, a lot of them understand the problem. They don't have enough money to retire one day, and things continue to get more expensive. Those are really two big issues for a lot of people in their financial life. They know about inflation. Maybe they don't understand fully how it works or how it's caused, but they do understand that things get more expensive. People complain about that. People understand that, and people realize that they probably won't have enough money to retire. Maybe they don't know how much money they need to retire, but we know that pensions are underfunded. We know Social Security might not be there by the time that we retire. We also know that we, as a nation, don't have enough in investments to be able to live off 4 or 5% or something like that, or just to be able to draw it out. But many people don't feel like they have the time to devote to investing. I talked to a couple family members recently. One was maybe in their 60s. One was a little bit younger than me. And both of them said that they don't want to have to deal with their own investments. The person that was a little bit older said that they just don't want to have to deal with it. Like they don't have enough mental bandwidth to do it. And they also aren't interested in it, and they don't want to take the risk. They just want to make sure that they have some money set aside for when they retire, and that's good for them. The other person that was younger than me said that they just don't want to have to deal with it. They don't want to have to figure out how to set up accounts. They just want to invest and let someone else deal with it. They want to live their life. But this inherently means, at least right now, those people will probably not invest in Bitcoin. The reason for that is many financial advisors or people helping you set up retirement accounts aren't allocating towards Bitcoin yet. So first of all, you have to get past that hurdle of actually wanting to do your own investing. One day we'll probably have Bitcoin in retirement funds, But today we don't have that. And a lot of people don't understand the fees too that come along with financial advisors. Like, this is kind of nuts. Even people watching this channel probably don't understand. Let's say you get a 10% return for 40 years and you put $5,000 in a year. That would give you a $2.2 million portfolio. But what if you have a financial advisor that charges 1%? This is a pretty average rate. You have $1.689 million, which is actually like a reduction of 24% in your overall return, your overall portfolio over time. That's a huge difference just from 1%. Some people might think, oh, well, if they charge me 1%, then my overall portfolio will just be 1% smaller by the end of time, right? Instead of 2.2 million, I'm going to have 2.18, $20,000 on 2 million. That's not how it works. That's not how compounding works. So a lot of people don't even understand what kind of fees they're going through or they're getting when they're going through a financial advisor. So a lot of people don't want to have to deal with their own investments, and a lot of people don't have the mental bandwidth or the time to do it. At least they don't think so. Now, a lot of people from there, even the people that do have the time, are interested in finance, a lot of people don't understand what Bitcoin is. They don't understand that it solves both of the problems that we labeled above, which is one, inflation, and two, not having enough money, right? Or not having enough money to retire. A lot of people don't understand the properties of Bitcoin, and I do have full videos on that, why you might want to buy Bitcoin. I'll put them up somewhere up here so that you can take a look at it. But a lot of people don't understand that Bitcoin fixes those problems. They hear that Bitcoin's risky. And then they hear that it's got a lot of upside, right? From two different people. Maybe some person says it's trash. Some people say that it's the future. Then they see the price go up $10,000 and then go down $10,000. The problem is, as humans, we are very good at trying to reduce pain. So if you hear one person say something's a scam, one person say it's the next big thing, you probably aren't going to do anything because you just don't know. That's how most people approach it. Also, we don't really like to see our hard-earned money go down in value. That's another reason a lot of people like to use financial advisors, is to get that like pat on the back, like, hey, you are doing the right thing, even if you're investing and the market's going down, or your investments are down this year, but it's going to be okay, that kind of thing. Financial advisors get paid to pat you on the back and make sure you stay the course. That's a big part of why they get paid. So a lot of people don't want to have to invest in something like Bitcoin that is pretty volatile, right? It is volatile. It has a lot of upside. It has a lot of downside as well on certain swings. So people just don't like it. And then if you do have the light bulb moment about Bitcoin, you understand that this is a saving mechanism. You understand that this is a set supply, something that becomes more scarce over time. Or heck, if you just realize there are a lot of people buying this, like a lot of billionaires buying it, there must be something to this. Well, then you have to do enough research to actually get convicted to start investing in it. Even after you're maybe Bitcoin curious, you still have to do a lot more research to actually feel good and comfortable. And a lot of people like to talk about what they're doing. So if you brought this up to a significant other or family member, they might be skeptical too. And it's hard to explain yourself at the beginning, like, why are you buying this asset? Because if you don't have enough hours of studying Bitcoin, you might not be able to answer very simple questions, right? So let's say you do have that light bulb moment. You have to understand how Bitcoin can help, how it can get you to your goals. And you also have to understand that it can go up and down in USD terms and be okay with that. From there, you actually have to invest. Right? This is the scary step for a lot of people, is actually putting your money where your mouth is. You have to set up an account somewhere like Coinbase or CoinW, for example, underneath the video. And then you have to learn about security risks, right? There are all these people that are worried about losing all their crypto. You have to understand like how to transfer crypto, how to secure your crypto. Now, if you have 0.07, maybe you just leave it on an exchange. And ETFs have helped this out a lot because you can just go through Fidelity or not Vanguard, but maybe some other account and just start buying some Bitcoin right through the ETFs. It's a lot easier. You don't necessarily have to set up separate funds or separate accounts somewhere else and put in the funds. So then you have to start investing. After you have everything set up, you have to start investing. And this is another difficult part, which is trying to make sure that you invest for a long period of time, right? Maybe you have $10,000 sitting there and you can just buy $5,000 of Bitcoin. That would be about 0.07 Bitcoin. But for a lot of people, it would take them time. They don't have thousands and thousands of dollars to put into something like that. So let's say you take home $50,000 a year, and maybe you can invest 15% of that, which is a good savings rate in a lot of people's minds. Part of that probably goes to your 401k or an HSA or something. Let's say it's half. You have $3,750 left to invest throughout the year. Okay, at that rate, it would take a couple years to be able to buy that 0.07 Bitcoin, like 1.25 years. But it's hard to invest for that long at first. Like when you start buying something like that, it is hard to make sure that you invest on a weekly schedule or a monthly schedule, a bi-weekly schedule, because the price goes up and down. When the price goes up, sometimes you feel like you shouldn't buy because you just bought it for cheaper last week. And then when the price goes down, you're like, oh man, maybe I should wait for it to drop a little bit more. I could buy more Bitcoin if I wait a couple more weeks. And this is where a lot of people get sidelined too. They start buying and then the price goes up or down and then they get freaked out and then they stop. The hard part is having conviction to buy over and over and over again. Now, it's very possible, right? You can do that. You can get to that 0.07 Bitcoin, and from there, it's easier to get to 0.14 Bitcoin. It's easier to get to 0.5 Bitcoin. It's easier to get to 1 Bitcoin. The hardest part is getting that first 0.01 Bitcoin, 0.07 Bitcoin. The first amount of Bitcoin is the hardest, but from there, it gets easier and easier. And you start to understand Bitcoin more. You start to get more used to the volatility, right? You understand the ins and outs of Bitcoin. You listen to more Bitcoin podcasts. You listen to more Bitcoin videos. You understand security. You start becoming a believer and telling other people about it. You get other people interested in it. And it becomes much easier. But I'm here to tell you, it is hard, right? It is very hard for people to start buying Bitcoin, and not necessarily just the logistics of it, but it is difficult for people to want to buy their own assets and to custody those assets and to feel good about the volatility, right? Most people aren't good at investing, right? That's why some people vastly outperform, is because they can keep their emotions in check while other people are freaking out and panicking. So why do I make this video? One, to tell you that I understand if you're trying to buy Bitcoin and you're trying to get to a certain number, it is difficult. It is very difficult at the beginning. The second reason I make this video is to show you it can be done. There are other people that understand the situation you're in, that understand your difficulties. 3, it's to provide some hope, right? You can buy Bitcoin and just continue to dollar cost average over time, and you can get to your goals. I've gone past every goal that I've ever set. Really, now I don't even have a goal for my Bitcoin stacking, but I continue to stack over time. I continue to save some of my wealth in Bitcoin because I do think it's a good place to store value and to save for different assets that I'll buy down the road. So I understand where everyone's at. I understand that it's difficult at first, but it's getting easier as well. It's getting much easier with these Bitcoin ETFs. It's getting much easier because maybe in a few months or a few years, Bitcoin ETFs are going to be put into retirement accounts. People are already talking, some of the biggest asset managers in the world are already talking about how they're going to allocate towards Bitcoin in some of their portfolios. We understand that Bitcoin is probably going to be put towards retirement passively, like target date funds. This will make everything a lot easier. Some of these issues will be part of the past. Now it will be different because it's not going to be Bitcoin that you self-custody. It's going to be Bitcoin in a retirement account that can be used as a retirement asset that you can draw down on. But still, I think that's much better than not holding any Bitcoin at all. And this is also to show you're probably still early, right? We're talking about probably just a few million people in the world that have 0.07 Bitcoin. There are 8 billion plus people in the world. And we're talking about a few million that are buying Bitcoin. Maybe 1 out of every 1,000 people, 1 out of every 4,000 people holds that 0.07 Bitcoin that we're talking about. So it is very difficult. If you're there, congratulations, you're past most of the people on earth. Keep in mind too, if you're in before a lot of other people, I mean, we're talking about 1 out of every 4,000 people on earth maybe hold 0.07 Bitcoin. That means when they buy that Bitcoin, when they start buying Bitcoin and accumulating over time passively, that's going to send up the price. Again, there are very few people that actually have been buying Bitcoin in any real quantity or even at all. So that's something to consider. You are early on, and I'm not saying early on like to this cycle, right? We're already up 4x from the bottom. But compared to the rest of the world, if you've been accumulating Bitcoin, if you've been buying Bitcoin, you are probably very early. I know that sounds crazy that we're 15 years in and that you're really early, but when you just consider all the people that don't buy Bitcoin or don't hold any significant amount of Bitcoin, we are kind of still early compared to something like Apple stock, which a lot of people have maybe in retirement accounts through like S&P 500 funds or target date retirement funds. There are a lot of people that have been slowly accumulating over time without even thinking about it. From there, I think it is important to have other assets as well, right? I'm not 100% Bitcoin. I'm not trying to put all my net worth in it because I realize that it's volatile and that would cause emotional distress. It's volatile in USD terms. So if I see my net worth go up 5x and then go down 5x or go down 80%, right? That's going to be difficult. I want to make sure that even outside of Bitcoin, I am hedged. I have cash flowing assets. I have other investments I think will do well because that mentally is easier for me than just saving 100% in Bitcoin. But let me know your thoughts underneath the video. Again, you can check out the links to MargeX and CoinW as well in case you want to start trading cryptocurrency or buying Bitcoin, just and buying it and withdrawing it. Check out those links. I really appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.